Oh, what's the king's name? Or has he ever given us his name? I don't.
Ah, crap. Let me see. Yes, yes, yes. I do not remember it off the top of my head, but I have it written down. Give me 1 second.
And I might Zarbin might just not remember it because it's a crazy gnome name.
Yes, I believe it was a crazy gnome name. Hmm. Okay, here it is. The king's name is Robalcancol, and his last name is the same name as the city of Infoliox.
Wait, could you say
So
that again? You was kind of going robot
Robalcancol,
Robot call.
Robalcancol.
Robalcantal.
Hang on. I will type it into chat real quick.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That might not help. Robot.
I will type it with pronunciation,
Okay.
kind of emphasize. There we go. Robalcancol.
Robalcancal. I'll get the hang of it eventually. Um,
Just be thankful you guys haven't ventured too far into the city.
my king. Could I accompany your warriors to the creature's lair? If, uh, I feel as I'm meant to go there. In fact, that was our entire reason for coming down here.
He eyes you up and down, takes in what you're saying, hesitates a second, and then he proceeds. I don't know how much that you can offer in the state that you're in. You've gone through a lot, but I guess my men could always use a healer by their side. Stay close to them; they know the way. And he nods his head at you, and then he looks to Teshik and to Elgin, and he leads the way for them to follow him out. And when they proceed to walk off, you are left in the room with two of the king's guards. A few of the guards have already kind of are kind of outside of this like temple, kind of just waiting. Um, the two guards, they look to you. One of them walks up to you a little bit taller than the other, and he extends his hand to shake your hand. And he says, "Greetings. My name is Rovid Baba, and you are."
My name is Zarbin Solitaire.
"Ah, Zarban Solitaire. Well, well. It is good to see you. King say that you be coming with us. King say that you can heal. Oh, yes.
Uh,
But I'm
um,
telling you, it might be dangerous." And he looks over to his compadre. But don't listen to him. Don't listen to Kabahabajana or Kabahabajana. He'll tell you scary stories. Don't listen to his scary stories. The Drider's dead. And he looks to you, and his like eyes go wide. Who killed the Drider? Was it the king? Did our king do it? Did our king slay it? I bet our king did. I bet our king was vicious in combat. I bet he got his sword and he cut it to pieces. It was probably a glorious sight. Ah. And his eyes go wide and he begins nodding his head, soaking in this moment, realizing that his king killed the Drider, or so he believes. And then the other one, the other one, comma. Um, we're a writer. And he's like looking around, kind of examining everything. And see, and the other gnome that you were already talking to, the husband was like, yeah, where's he? I don't see the body. And so the gnomes they kind of like run up to you, like one on one side of you and one on the other side of you. How tall is Sarvin exactly?
Oh, he's fairly small. He's like 5'7".
Okay, so yeah, for some reason I always pictured Zarbin as being taller. Um, yeah, so these guys uh, they stand pretty good size up to you. Well, as tall as a gnome would. But yeah, you got these two gnomes beside you, asking where the body of the Drider is.
I guess Zarvin he'll kind of like stumble around and point at the where the egg shrine was, and he'll just like point to the dust that's on the ground.
They look to each other confused, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, that don't okay, yeah." Anyways, you ready to go to the Drider's lair? And their eyes go big.
I wouldn't say that I'm ready, but I'm willing.
They look to each other. And the second one to speak, Kabojana. The second one to speak, Kabojana. He speaks up. It's like, have you heard the stories of the lair? It's a scary place. And as he says that, the other one, he whips out a map. He's like, I have a map. Um, And he's like, I have a map, but before we get there, it's a massive maze. You would never be able to find it unless you knew where you were going. Thankfully, we have a map. Did it pop up on Roll20 for you just now?
Yep.
So yeah, so if you look at that, you can obviously see the maze. You guys would have attempted to go there prior to any assist from the city. Probably would have had a hard time. But
Probably.
yeah. And then they look to you. Well, you ready? Let's go.
As they start walking, I think Zarvin's going to I want to get a piece of cloth, like rip it off his blanket or something, and he's going to wrap up his uh, golden eye
Nice.
so it's not visible anymore.
So how exactly, or tell me exactly like where Zarbin's mythal state is right now with everything that has gone on.
He's kind of in a. It's almost like shell shock. He's just kind of going with the motions. He's not really thinking or feeling or anything. He's just kind of dazed.
Nice.
And he's extremely weak. Like he's barely standing right now.
Quick question. What all of like all the loot that you guys have that you came into last session, what all do you have on you?
I have everything except the two items that
We're
Elgin and
specific for
Tessie.
okay.
Yeah,
So
because
you have
apparently
the
everyone wants me to hold that stuff.
You have the red gems, the ring, the egg.
Yep.
Um, was
How,
there anything else, or was that it?
so I got the fire elemental necklace.
Yeah, those were the red
Yeah, I
gems.
got the money mine, the ring of two wishes, the egg. I've got a elixir of health. I'm not sure what that is. Uh, and a potion of fire breath. And I think we got those earlier.
The elixir of health, I think that was from Corso, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was because we got to pick one thing.
And the potion of fire breath, it was from the tieflings. Okay.
How big is this egg?
Um, hang on. I believe like the size of an ostrich egg, I'm wanting to say.
Okay, so it's
Isn't that like isn't that like the biggest egg there is?
yeah, ostrich eggs are pretty big, but I mean you could still carry it decently. Okay, that's good. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking like something that you have to like hold at its base and walk around with.
Oh no, I'm looking at an ostrich egg right now online. It's bigger than that.
Ostrich eggs are pretty delicious though.
I don't even know why I was thinking ostrich egg. Like, well, I've always heard they were big, but man, I figured they'd be bigger than that. Like, it's like the size of like the hand of a hand. I'd probably say about twice the size of an ostrich egg.
Would it be
So
reasonable
it's
to
pretty
put it
large.
in my backpack?
You could. And normally like eggs are fragile. If you were to like take this thing and just drop it, like it wouldn't crack.
Okay, I was imagining that it was very thick, or at least hard.
Yes, very sick, very durable.
Does it have any warmth to it? Does it feel like it's holding a live like baby dragon?
No, no, like it doesn't have any warmth to it at all. Like I think if like I think a lot of people if they encountered it like with no backstory of it, I think they might think it was like a fossil or something like that. And like I imagine like when you like came into it and you picked it up off of like the pedestal, I imagine like it just kind of being caked with dust and like you would have to kind of like forcefully like rub the dust off it to really kind of like catch the full color of it, because like you have no idea how long it's been here. Maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. You don't know. Like so
Well, I guess before we
the
finally set off, Zarbin he'll like look at the egg for a little bit, and then he'll just wrap it up with the blanket that he tore a piece off, and then put it inside his backpack.
very nice, very nice. So you guys head off, and it's pretty late at night right now. Like you guys left, like when you guys left to come here, like if you remember, like it was already late. Like when you guys left to come here, you were setting up camp. So it's like extremely late right now.
Oh,
Uh,
did we get a short rest while we were waiting for the guards?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because I'm at 11 hit points, and I don't want to be at 11 hit points.
As you guys, as you head off with these, when you walk out with these two gnomes, there's a few other of the King's Guard there, that were originally supposed to go with you. The other King's Guards, they look to Rovinho Baba and Kabojana, and they look to him and they proceed to have a conversation in Gnomish. Following the conversation, Rovinho Baba, he looks to you and he says, "Well, it looks like it's just gonna be me." you and Kabojana. The king says that since you're coming with us, the other guys, they could probably be better use back in the city. Apparently, the king has a lot of confidence in you.
I'm
And
not
the
sure
other
he
guards,
should.
they turn and they begin to leave.
Okay.
Kabojana speaks up. What are you sure about? Kabojana appears to stutter a lot.
I am very tired. I used a lot of energy earlier.
Well, we have a little tread before we get there, so maybe we should set up camp. Maybe we should set up camp for the night and rest. It is pretty late. With the Drider no longer a problem, we're not going to have a lot of resistance. We are told that we do believe from our different scouting parties that we've done, scouting expeditions we've done, and the few times we've had men in the lair and they returned, we do believe that there may be a few of these like spider creature things, and like he kind of emphasizes it all weirdly, and like his head kind of goes down to the side a little bit. It's like, yeah, but they're no problem at all. We'll be able to just breeze through those things. Like, I don't see this being any problem at all. So really, there's no problem in us resting a bit. So if you need a rest, we can take a rest. And when he says that, Rovan Hobaba looks to Kabojana. He's like, oh, a rest. I don't know. I don't know if we should take a rest. We should probably keep going because I don't want to hear your stupid stories about this hellish place. And then Kabojana, he's like, no, you stop it. He's kind of there. He's in a very playful tone. He's like, stop it. I want to tell my stories. We're going to set up camp. We're going to make a fire, and I'm going to tell my stories. And then they then proceed to kind of get like nose to nose, and they begin to kind of argue in Gnomish. You're not really sure what they're saying. And then Rovan Hobaba, he looks at you, he's like, well, it's decided. We're going to let you decide. Should we take a rest or should we just keep going?
Are are there other creatures or civilizations around here that might want to go to the creature's lair?
Well, um, Kabojana then speaks up, let me handle this. And he steps forward. It's like, there are a few more settlements around. We got the tieflings. There's a tiefling city. It's you guys probably passed it on your way down here. Did you guys encounter any tieflings? They're everywhere. It's kind of in the distance you guys came from. Did you guys encounter any of them? You may have encountered some. Did you guys encounter any tieflings? He looks at you.
Zarvin will kind of just hold up two fingers.
Mm, lucky man you are. Tieflings are up there, but they tend to keep to themselves. They got like some like I don't know, weird demon devil mother type lady. She's like red and stuff, and she got wings, and like she's got a tail and some horns, and she can transform into like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. She forced them tiefling men to love her. Mm-hmm. And she got this son now. This son, he's like half tiefling, like whatever she is, man. And this guy's crazy. If you ever met him, run for your life. He's crazy, just like she is. But yeah, the tieflings, they're crazy, but they tend to keep to themselves. Like We hear that they do a lot of stuff on the surface. And like the two gnomes, they look to each other. Yeah, they don't care about what goes on down here. They care about your world. And he points to you. They care about your world. We, I, apparently, they got like, I don't know. There's some cult or something. I don't know, but there's really not even a lot of the tieflings. But there's probably a few hundred tieflings in their tiefling city, but they got like an army of goblins, and some of them they breathe fire from their mouths. It's crazy. Like I know you probably don't believe that fire breathing goblins, but but Cabo Jono would never lie to you. I'm telling you, in their army of goblins, some of them they breathe fire. And then Rovan Hobala speaks up. He's not lying. I one time seen it with my own eyes. Fricka Frolabala. He was burnt to ash by a goblin who breathed fire. And then Cabo John is like, yeah, I seen it too. But then I was there, and he pulls out this like little rapier he has. It's like I took my rapier and and he like slashes. He like pierces it because you don't slash a rapier.
Zarvin, he
He
just
like
kind of
pierces
like
it.
sits down as they're talking.
Okay, and then Rovan Hobaba, he's like, well, it looks like we're making camp here. And then Cabo Johnny, he's like, yeah, this one is as good of a spot as any other. You guys are so real close to the temple place you came out of. But Rovan Hobaba, he's like, yeah, there's the tieflings. There's a few other places too. There's the Duergar. They're kind of nomadic though. They don't really stay in one place. They used to have this like very strong like very strongly established like underground kingdom, but then they ticked off the drow and that place ain't there no more. You don't mess with the devil elves. They're crazy, man. One time I seen a drow, and then he gets cut off by Cabo John. He's like, no, don't tell that story. That story is even too much for my ears. And then he looks at he's like, that story's really scary. The drow are evil. You see one of those suckers, you run. You run. You hear me? You run. And then they look to each other like, yeah, we don't like the drow. There's the drow city too. But the drow city, they don't really mess with us. And then Rovan Obaba was like, yeah, he's right. The drow, they don't mess with us because we're the deep gnomes, brother. We're the pale gnomes. And like they're getting like all boastful, a little bit cocky. And then Cabo Johnny's like, well, not really. They're not scared of us. They were scared of. They then look to each other, and their eyes go wide. And then Rovan Obama, he's like, "Oh my gosh, man! Oh my gosh!" And then they get this like really concerned look over their face, and you can tell that they're starting to like kind of scare themselves. And then they look to you, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Falika's dead! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!" Oh, and
Who?
Cabo Jana, he gets up and he starts pacing and he's like pulling at the hair in his head. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you think they're gonna come now that she's dead? Oh my gosh!" And he begins scratching his head. Yeah, you can tell they're really upset, and they kind of like stop talking, and they're kind of like really like just eyeing each other. And one was like, "Oh my gosh, Falika is dead. Oh my gosh!" And then
Who
like,
is
well,
Falaka?
who's Falika? When you ask that, they repeat the question back to you. And then Cabo Johnny, he speaks up. He's like, Falika, the Drider? Duh.
This,
Don't you know the story of Falika?
the spider thing?
Yeah. Don't you know what a Drider is?
I'm not from
Uh,
around here.
so, okay, man. Listen. Your mind's about to be blown. That thing, that Drider, that devil spider thing that you guys killed, it used to be a drow. Yeah, it used to be a black elf, a devil elf, a demon elf, a pale elf, an elf straight from hell. But then she made their god mad. Malice Havamora. She made her mad. And when she made her mad, Malice Havamora cursed her and turned her into that hideous beast. And all the other drow, they feared Follica. Everybody feared Follica. And then Rovan Hobaba speaks up and is like, yeah, man, normally the Driders, the cursed drow, the ones that their god curses, normally they're just completely like kicked out of the drow society, and like the world forgets about their existence pretty much. But not Follica. Follica was different. And like Kyle Jonathan speaks up. Brace yourself, man. I'm gonna give you the whole story of Follica. You see, the drow, they weren't always here in this area of the Underdark. They used to be like way up north, like nowhere's even close to here, man. But then there was this like drow civil war, and like they were like killing each other and stuff. And then like three major houses of the drow, they left all the other drow and they migrated into this area. And when these three houses, they migrated into this area. There was so there was three houses. The bottom of these three houses was House Rapcall. And normally, like drow society, like the lower houses, they're weaker to the upper houses in every way. Quit. Normally, the lower houses, they're weaker to the upper houses in every way, but not House Rapcall. House Rapcall would not lay down. But when the drow came into this area, House Rapcall, they just began to multiply and expand, and they grew rapidly. And eventually, over several hundred years, the number of the drow had multiplied like practically tenfold. And the houses, well, maybe not tenfold, but they drastically multiplied. When they came into this area, there was 3 different houses. But then from the growth of House Rapcall, there was a total of 10 houses. 10 houses of the drow. And they begin like nodding their heads back and forth to each other, and then one of them looks to the other, and they're like, yeah, they were 10 houses, but 10 houses, man, they became 9 houses because all the other houses, they turned against House Rapcall. And then Cabo Jana speaks up, yeah, man, they completely slaughtered everybody in House Rapcall. The only people who lived from the slaughter was Follica. But Follica was special. She was a priestess of Malice Hathamora. And really, that's why all the other houses turned on them, because the priestess of Malice Hathamora within House Rapcall outnumbered all the other houses put together. Altogether, House Rapcall, they had 9 priestesses from what the story says. Yeah, they had 9 priestesses. And the high priestess of Malice Hathamora within the first house, she died, man. And when she died, the drow, they had to choose a new high priestess, but they don't choose the new high priestess themselves. Malice Hathamora, they say she chooses the high priestess, and when she chooses the new high priestess, she chooses Follica, man. One of the priestesses from House Rapcall, she chose Follica. And when a priestess from the 3rd house became high priest, that's when all the other drows turned on the 3rd house, because the way they seen it, it was just a matter of time before House Rapcall ascended and killed off the 2nd house and the 1st house. Because that's the way of the drow, man. They kill each other like in a heartbeat. They kill each other. So all the other houses, they united. They killed all the slaves. They killed all the nobles, all the commoners, all the children, everything and everyone except one. and that was Follica. Because to kill the high priestess of Malice Havamora, it's like the ultimate crime and the ultimate sin. So they killed everybody but her. And then they say that Follica went crazy and she killed the matron mother of the first house. So like the drow, they were just in like shambles. Like the third house was gone. The main matron mother was gone. Like it was awful. And to kill the main matriarch and to kill the high priestess, it's kind of viewed as like equal weight and like drow sin, you know? So they say that Malice Hathamora cursed her very own high priestess, Follica Rapcall. Yeah, she cursed her high priestess and turned her into a drider. But the pride that Malice Hathamora has, even though she cursed the high priestess, they say that she did not strip the drider of her high priestess duty. So for the first time ever, a drider was the high priestess of Malice Hathamora. And they say that Malice Hathamora, they say that Follica has been removed from the drow for decades and decades and decades and decades. And they say the entire time she's been removed, that Malice Hathamora has not spoken a word to the drow in this region. They say that she has completely abandoned her people, and they say that she is going to leave them abandoned until the death. And then they look to each other, and like you can see fear begin to come back over them again, until the death of Follica. And they look to each other like, man, I don't really know what this means. Yeah. And then Rovan Hobaba, he then speaks up. He's like, but you do know one thing. You told one part of the story wrong. He says that to Kabojana, and then Kabojana speaks up. He's like, no, I didn't. My story was right on. And then Rovan Hobaba says to Kabojana, he's like, no, you were wrong in one part. You said that when all the drow turned on House Rapcall, you said that all the drow, they killed everyone. You said that they killed all of the commoners and nobles, the children, and you said they killed all the slaves. But you know very well they didn't kill all the slaves. And then Cabo John is like, you were right. I told the story wrong. And then Cabo John looks, he's like, yeah, man, I told you the story wrong. All the slaves, but one of them died. And then you see he pulls a book out of his pocket. He's like, I believe this may be written in one of the surface tongues, but when you open it, you'll see that there's notes where like under like your surface tongue, it has notes where you can read it in our underground tongue. And he pulls out a book and he gives it to you. Give me 1 second and I'll give you access to this. It's kind of a little bit longer read, so kind of just for your reference if you want to look over it eventually.
Well, I don't think Zarvin's going to read it now. He's too
Yeah,
mentally
yeah.
exhausted to read.
But Rovan Hobaba, he's like, yeah, man, that book, it's a pretty cool story. It's about a slave who it's about a deep gnome that became a slave in House Rapcall around the time when all this crap went down. But really this gnome, he's really a legend down here in our society. His name was Thrall. Like he spent a lot of time up on the surface, and he talks about how this like in his writing, he talks about how this like I don't know, this like fog came and like destroyed the world or something. Like, do you know what that is? It's like, you know anything about that? It sounds crazy, man. But he talks about some fog that destroyed the world, and then he talks about like some shadow stuff and like some wizard, and he talks about then he talks about how he came back down here and how he like was taken enslaved by the drow, and then he talks about like the drow like killing House Rapcall, and then he comes back to our city when he gets free. and it doesn't. His story doesn't have a happy ending though. And then Rovan Hobbs was like, yeah, it doesn't have a happy ending. It's not certain, but most gnome historians believe that Frawl, and like he kind of like crosses across his throat, and like he like nods his head, looking at you, trying to get if you get what he's saying. Do you get what he's saying?
Yes, few rarely die with a happiness in their
Yeah, he
heart.
did. It wasn't a happy ending. And then Cabo Jana speaks up abruptly. He's like, "Yeah, man, we think he killed himself." And, like he kind of like jumps up and like he's oddly excited about that, but like yeah. And then he kind of like restrains himself, like realizing, I guess, how immature and out of place him getting excited about that is. Um,
I'll
so I believe.
I'll kind of reach my hands out towards him and like put it on their shoulders, and it's like it's time to sleep.
Ah, okay. They shake their heads. They're like, okay, okay. Um,
I'll take
okay.
first watch. Y'all y'all can
All
sleep
right.
first.
All right. That sounds good. That sounds good. Um, and when you say you're gonna take first watch, Cabojana speaks up. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take second watch." And then Rovan Hobaba's like, "No, I want second watch." And then Cabojana's like, "Rock paper scissors it." And they proceed to play rock paper scissors. And then Rovan Hobaba gets stuck on second, and Cabojana on third.
Okay.
So, give me 1 second, real quick. Okay. In the handout section now, just for future reference, there's now 2 books. Fall of House Rap Call.
Okay.
Kind of just goes over like all the history I was talking about with that. And then also a book called The Tale of Thrall.
Okay. Yeah. Same.
It's kind of just like a deep gnome legend, or maybe not a legend. I don't know. It's whatever. Check it out whenever you can. All right. So your watch comes along. You want to roll me a D100?
I mean, I don't want to, but I will.
If it's any consoling, I hope the night passes peacefully,
That's
man.
a 28.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Roll me a D100.
Don't worry, I can cast Fireball twice. That's 47.
47? That's nice.
Maybe it'll be that hot demon chick that they were talking about.
I don't think so.
Because that won't make Zarbin any more confused.
So did the 2 gnomes, did their stories confuse Zarbin even more?
Um, not necessarily confuse him. It made him more curious. And how long ago did
Okay.
they say the Drider was cursed? Was it 10 years
Um
ago?
they said decades and decades and
Uh,
decades and decades.
yeah.
If you if you were to read through the story of Frawl, the story of Frawl kind of puts a timeline on things a little bit, but not really. So, in the story of Frawl, if you were to read over the story of Frawl, essentially what the story of Frawl is, it's about this gnome who he has a family, he has wife and children, and everything that like a gnome is expected to have, kind of in the city of Ovenfull. So he has everything that you're expected to have, but he's not really at peace. So he leaves his family to go out on the surface to adventure. So he leaves the city, he leaves the underground, and he goes out adventuring. And as he goes out adventuring, wandering the world, he finds this city, this city called Songvada. And as he finds this city, he finds that this city is ruled by what he says is a just wizard. And he becomes friends with this wizard, and this wizard takes him like into his council. And he talks about how everything is great. But then he talks about how the gods send their wrath, and they send this plague, they send this black mist that gives life to the death or life to the dead. And then the dead begin to kill life. And he begins to talk about how the entire world is shattered. But as he talks about this, and it's pretty much as like one would read through this, they would understand what he's talking about is the beginning of the age of the end. So the story of Thrall, it begins around the time of the beginning of the age of the end. And things happen, and this wizard who had this city that Thrall was at, he finds a way to go to a plane of shadows during like the beginning of the age of the end. And in this plane of shadows, Thrall is with this wizard ruling by his side, and they build this like kingdom in this plane of shadows. And as they build this kingdom, Thrall's life, like his life, it begins to pass him by, and he finds himself in this older state, and his heart is missing his home, his heart is missing his family. So he leaves the wizard, and he leaves the plane of shadows, and he treads through the black mist, through the age of the end. He finds his way back into the earth, and as he finds his way back in the earth, he's taken slave to the drow. He's a slave to the drow for an extended period of time, and then he's finally able to get free and return to the city of Oven Fullocks. But when he returns to the city of Oven Fullocks, he realizes for every year that he spent in the plane of shadows, many, many, many years passed by. And he talks about how his wife had passed, his children had passed, and their children had passed. So like 3 generations of gnomes down the line, like that's how many years into the age of the end it would have been before Thrall, or before Follicle was cursed.
Okay.
And as far as how long exactly the age of the end was, history kind of gets lost in the age of the end. No one exactly knows how long the age of the end lasted, but it's believed that it lasted several thousand years. So it would have been not too far, not really like super deep into the age of the end when Falaka was cursed. So it would, piecing together that timeline, it would appear that Falaka spent most of the age of the end as a drider, so she would have been pretty stinking old.
Okay.
So, what was the last thing you rolled? A D100? Okay, also roll me 3D4.
A 10.
Oh, that's cool. Let's see. Okay, roll me another 3D4, because that is like the exact result we got in one of the last encounters, and I haven't updated this particular chart. 9. Okay. Oh, dang.
Maybe it will be
Oh,
the.
I'm excited about this.
Maybe it will be the succubus.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh. Interesting. Okay, roll me a D3.
Okay, I was trying to make my dogs be quiet, and they're not going to listen to me at all. I rolled a D3. There we go. A 2.
Okay. So, yeah, your watch as As your watch goes by, everything seems pretty calm, pretty peaceful. This would be considered a long rest. You wish to frame a scene?
Do I have inspiration? No, I don't. So let's think what I did. First scene I did, he was okay. I think I got one. I think I got one.
Okay.
I think the scene starts out. You can just see like Zarbin's like glowing blue eyes, and you can see like just like sweat around them, and it like zooms out, and then it you see that he's in a dark room with only like one torch giving off like a dim light, and he is like chained down onto a chair, and he's just like covered in blood from like you can see like whip like cuts. He's been like pierced a couple times. It looks like maybe his shoulder was broken. It's like hanging drastically lower than it should be, and he's like staring at something and doesn't really show it at first, and then it kind of like swaps to what he's like his vision, and it's just like this faintly glowing, luminous woman with like this long blue hair with streaks of silver, and it's kind of like waving almost like a fire, and he's just like staring at her, and it's almost like he's not really conscious, but he's like in between consciousness. And then the door opens and she like vanishes, and the this elder looking Azamar like walks in, and it was the same one that took him as a child, except he's much older now. And he just kind of like stares at him, and then he pulls out like these tools and begins to torture Zarbin more.
Rough. So, there's no other players here to ask you a question, so I think I'm going to ask you a question. So, all of this, like, crazy crap has happened, like, to Zarbin as he was growing, as he was maturing, because he had faith in this god that was completely unheard of, unknown. No one knew anything about this god, while everyone else was extremely devoted to Ragan, the like primary sun god, the sun god who represents the greater of the two suns in the sky. Like
Um,
all this crazy crap that happened to him, like it like happened at the hands of man. Does like all of this stuff that has happened to him, does like Zarbin like look at this stuff and like does he blame man or does he blame Ragan himself?
I don't think he blames man specifically. He blames the that Pacific guy.
So he blames the god,
No, the old man.
all the old man.
Yeah, the
Okay,
old man
so
was like his warden.
okay, okay. So how exactly then does Zarbin approach like the god Ragan and like the religion kind of devoted around Ragan?
I think part of like Zarbin's rehabilitation, sort of. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Uh, like like Zarbin, I wouldn't say worships them, but he respects their um power and stuff. Like he reveres them as for like them being gods. He just doesn't. He puts all his faith into Amora.
And Amora. Okay.
But I
And like
mean, like
I know,
he'll will pray to the other gods. It's just it's a lot less frequent. It's more of like
I
on ceremonial days for the
yeah,
Pacific gods, he will pay homage to them. And I imagine
I
as he was traveling to his destination, that's how he kind of paid for his traveling expenses was by performing um, priestly duties.
Gotcha. So I know like when like the concept of Zarbin was initially being crafted, like we discussed like what were some of the like traditions of the Asimar people. And like in that conversation, I had talked about how a lot of stuff hadn't been fleshed out because they really haven't had a lot of interaction with the world. And like I gave you liberty to like kind of begin to tell the story of them, I guess. And I know you've like showed a lot of devotion with Zarbin and like a lot of like religious practices. And I know you've talked about like how when Zarbin prays, like it's very similar to like the way how the Muslims approach prayer. Is that something that like the faith of like Rogan does? Is that like something he picked up from that, or is that like something he's like picked up on his own? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
I think that's more of um, a whole thing. Like most of the people do that. Like it's, I kind of imagine like there's like a giant pyramid or something that
Yeah.
the sun will once it gets to a certain level, it's almost like the sun is on top of the pyramid, and that's when they do their prayers. And it's like you know you could like people as far as you could see, just like thousands upon thousands of people praying all at one time, and they all do that similar like bowing and then they'll probably like kneel up and do some hand maneuvers.
I like it.
And I think it's very like social group thing too. Like it's not um like you don't like say your inner prayers. It more focuses on the whole of the people. Like
That's
praying for your own uh self, it would be like considered um selfish or perhaps rude.
yeah. I gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So your watch goes along peaceful. Um, I don't even remember which gnome I said had second watch. I think it was Rovin.
I'll say yes, but that doesn't mean.
Okay, so the second watch comes along. They then both of them begins arguing over themselves who was supposed to take second watch. And then Cabo Johnny's like, "You're taking it. I'm going to sleep. You're also taking third watch too." And he lays down. And then Robin's like, "I'm bigger than you." He's like, "I don't care. Shut up." And he throws a rock at him. And he's like, "Okay."
Whoa, no need for violence.
Robin's like, "Yeah, tell him, tell him." Robin Obama says, "Tell him." And then like he kind of gets like real pouty and pulls his arm, and it's like, yeah. He proceeds on his watch. Um, I imagine Zarbin is pretty messed up right now. I don't know really how well he's going to sleep. Because of this, go ahead and roll me a perception as you're laying here attempting to sleep. Roll it with disadvantage, though.
Okay. An 11.
Okay. Um, I imagine you're having a rough time sleeping, dozing, kind of in and out, not fully there and everything. But you do manage to doze off a little bit.
And when Zarbin's going to sleep, he's like viciously holding on to the backpack.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Let's make a few rolls real quick.
Oh, a question real quick. So with
Yeah.
these magic items we got, where it says we like spend hit dice to not consume a charge of the item, are we like
Yeah.
taking damage, or are we just spending our hit dice?
Taking damage.
Okay. I just want to know how Um,
I could have probably explained that a better.
just wanted to know in
I'll,
case things get drastic going. Okay, that's good to know.
okay. Um, morning, morning comes around. Um, and when it comes around, Rovan Hobaba and Kabojana, they begin to have a little argument, a little fight. Um, Rovan Hobaba, their argument and their fight, it's in Gnomish, so you're not really sure of what they're saying. But Rovan Hobaba, he begins to walk off and he begins to leave the campsite. Kabojana then looks, he's like, oh my gosh, I thought he was never going to leave. But what do you say as Rovan Hobaba is walking off and Kabojana says, I thought he was never going to leave?
Hold on, I'm reading this spell real quick.
Okay.
This could be important. What did the gnome say to me?
He's like, um, he says that Rovan Hobaba, he's like, finally, I never thought he was going to leave. They got in an argument and Rovan Hobaba just began to like walk off.
Wait, we need to stay together. We won't survive if we're not together.
He looks and he's like, oh no, he's just gonna go get his breakfast. He's gonna kill a cockatrice. You guys got cockatrice up on the surface? His head goes sideways. Cockatrice are good.
Pardon?
Cockatrice. You ever had a cockatrice?
What are we talking about?
Oh, you'll see it when he comes back. He usually gets really big cockatrice. He's really good at catching the big ones. Maybe when we head back into town, you should stop by the Bright Cockatrice. It's a tavern in town. They got some cockatrice soup there. It's really good. It's the best cockatrice soup you'll ever have.
I am forbidden from entering your city. And then
I don't know
I'll
about
like
that.
dangle my holy symbol.
He looks to it. He hesitates. He's like, it does look like the holy symbol of Malice Hapamora. He kind of like says all smirkly. It's a little bit different, though. It's a little bit the same, but it's a little bit different. You helped the king kill Follica, though, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, the king really seems to like you, so I don't know. Maybe you are still banned from the city. Maybe you're not. I don't know. Say, hey, in the middle of the night, the weirdest thing happened. Like, yeah, man. There was this lady and she was bald and there were these things following her. And like she like walked up on the campsite, man, and like he's kind of like holding his arms out in front of him, like to his side, like wobbling back and forth. You're not really sure why, but he is. He's like, yeah, man, she came up onto the campsite and she was like standing over you and looking at you, man. And I was like, hey. And then she looked at me and she didn't say anything. Like I tried talking to her, man, but she didn't say anything. And she just stood there. And she was there, but then she was gone, man. It was the craziest thing ever. I
Uh,
think.
um, um,
I think.
um, a, a
What?
bald lady?
Yeah,
Spelled.
man. She was bald.
Could you describe the things that were following her?
I don't know, man. It was dark and they were scary. I didn't get too close. I hid behind Roven, man. But she left.
So,
So it was weird though, man.
did, did did she touch me?
No, she didn't touch you at all, man. She's like stood over you and she watched. Like, I don't know, man. Some crazy voodoo stuff there, man. But yeah.
Did she do any weird gestures or
I
just?
don't know. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. A few minutes later, or like a bit later, Rovan comes back and he's got this like very large and plump, like grayish, blackish chicken type looking thing. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, yeah, man. And they begin to kill it and skin it and fix breakfast.
So could you tell me more about this Malith Hathmora? I've heard her
Now,
mentioned a lot, but I don't.
what do you want to know about her? Come on, let's walk. And they begin walking towards the Drider's lair.
Okay,
What kind of questions do you have about her?
I don't know what are some of her tenets, like ceremonies. How do they pay homage to her?
Quit, 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 quit. The mailman's here, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've learned that the dogs are the masters and the people are the servants.
Okay. They're like, yeah, man, her, like, you want to know about her attendance and her ceremonies? Well, one time there was a few of the king's men who they made it into like the actual like holy chamber of the Drider. They said there was blood everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, but as far as her attendance and her teachings and like her ceremonies, like no one really knows a lot. Like, I mean, if you knew, you'd probably be dead because they'd kill you. Like, we know that they sacrifice a lot. They torture people, and like the torture, it typically ends with sacrifice. Um, but really, we don't know a lot about it. But they're crazy, and then they proceed. Yeah, they're crazy, and a lot of people believe that Malice Hathamora is really like, what's the word? Messed up, like crazy, like actual crazy, not like I'm evil, I'm going to destroy the world, like maybe I don't know, man. Like she went
Wounded?
insane. Maybe. I don't know. I try not to think too much about her because like thinking about her, it's scary, man. And they say that the drow, like there's some like dark magic and it really messed them up. Like a lot of like historians, like they believe like because our society down here, like we're really like history is our thing, like you kind of get the vibe these guys don't really know, like I don't know what the word is, like they're really hesitant in what they're saying. Like they want to make a point, but they're not really sure what to say or how to say it. Like, yeah, man, like history, like we're into history down here, and like and they then look to each other like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, man.
I understand.
And then they
History
begin.
teaches us the how to create a better future.
They then just begin laughing at each other hysterically. Did you? It's the cockatrice, man. It really does something to your head. And they begin laughing. Um, you kind of get the impression they might be a little stoned.
I see what you did there.
So,
Is there a drow settlement close by?
It's not close by. It's a few 10-day journey. But if you went there, you'd probably die.
Well, seeing as my holy symbol's been confused, maybe they would think I'm a worshiper of this Malith half Mora.
Maybe, maybe, maybe.
You mentioned priestesses? Is that a common practice?
So in the Drow society, like, you know how like most societies, how like men are like alpha? Well, society it's the complete opposite. Like women are the alpha. Women are the top. Women are the head. And in this like order that they have, like the top like number one like head honcho person, well, it's actually arguable between two. One would be like the like main high priestess of Malice Hathamar, which for a long time has been Falika, but well, she's no longer here. And then the other one is the matron mother of the first house. And the matron mother, it's like the ruling individual of the first house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you guys work your way through the maze portion of the lair of the Drider. As you walk through this like maze portion of everything, like it's all like you see spider webs practically everywhere. It's like this place is covered in spider webs,
I'll just
and you
burn it away with my produce flame.
okay. That's a cantrip, correct?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah. The corridor that you're passing through, it eventually opens up quite extensively, and like when it opens up quite extensively, like the amount of spider webs like massively intensifies. Like they go from like a good portion of spider webs to oh my gosh, spider webs everywhere. And the two gnomes they look to each other, and then they one clenches to his rapier, and the other clenches to his scimitar. They look to each other, and then they look to you. They're like, "You ready?"
I suppose so.
Okay, so you guys go around the curve into like the first like real chamber with like three corridors coming off of it. When you come into this chamber, like every step, like you're stepping in spider webs. The two gnomes they look to each other and they look to you, and then they point at the three different corridors. They point up, right up there. That was the room of Follica. That was like her den. And they point to the left, like there. It's the prison. That's the cells. That's where they kept the prisoners. And then they point to the one to the right. Like that one. That's where their holy temple, where Follica's holy temple was. Which way? They ask you.
I guess the prisoner area first.
Okay. As you go down this, like, you go through like decent, a pretty long hall, like a pretty long walk. Um, In this pretty long walk, it's like a drastic like descent down. When you get to the bottom, you see like this 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 place that this room you've come into, this chamber you've come into. You see like cages kind of lining the walls. You see different torture devices, ones you're probably familiar with. You see blood stains on a lot of rocks. You see different instruments of torture. Um, you see a bag, maybe the belongings of a former slave. Um, it doesn't appear that there was anyone in here at the time of Folka's death. Um, the two gnomes, they didn't look to each other. It looks like, well, it doesn't look like she had any prisoners at this time.
I'll walk over and like kneel down and pick up the bag and see if there's anything indicating.
It looks like there was a few like trail rations that have kind of been like busted open, I guess, and like the contents of the ration is kind of about a bit, if that makes sense. And you look through and you see a piece of cloth. In this piece of cloth, it has the emblem of All Light on it. You're under the impression this bag may belong to one of the knights.
I guess he'll stuff it in like his belt.
Okay. You stuff it in your belt. There really wasn't anything like distinguishing on it though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't appear to be something that you really be able to trace back to like one individual, but you do believe it may have belonged to one of the knights.
And like as he'll put his like hand down as he kneels up, and then he'll say a prayer like wishing the death a safe travel into the afterlife.
Okay. As you do that, I imagine like you're kind of looking down like to the ground, and like when you look up, like as your head begins to ascend up, you see on the wall, carved on the wall, it looks like maybe with like chalk of some type or something. You see the image of a woman. A woman with blue hair and silver streaks. And then your mind goes back to the journal that you found of Maystate and Motley, and how he talked about the image of the woman on the wall.
I'll point up at it and I'm sorry, your names are confusing, but do you know who this is? Have you seen this before?
They look to each other and like, it looks like a bad drawing of Malice Hathamora. Like, that lady looks pretty. Like, yeah, she looks like she was pretty. And they look to you like, Malice Hathamora, she's not pretty. Ew. She's scary looking. And the other one's like, yeah, man, she's really scary looking. Uh-huh.
Well, I guess there's nothing here, so we should go on to the next area.
Okay. You come out, and the two rooms left for you to investigate are the like the I guess sanctuary that the Drider had, and also the Drider's personal chamber.
We will go towards the den, the living quarters,
Okay.
so to speak.
You head up towards the living quarters, and one of the gnomes steps out, and as he does, the other gnome grabs him and jerks him back. He's like, no, 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 no. And then he points, and when he points, he looks out into this like room, and it's literally just like a giant hole in the ground. It looks like it descends down into the ground hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet. Well, you actually wouldn't know it would descend hundreds of feet. If you kicked a rock down and it fell, a long time would pass before you heard it hit, if you ever did hear it
Well,
hit.
actually, Zarban, he'll pick up a rock and he'll cast light on it, and then he'll toss it down the hole.
Okay, yeah, you toss it down the road. Clever ideal. You toss it down the hole. You see it descend until you can no longer see the light again. But this like giant den, this giant hole in the ground, it has this like massive spider web kind of spread across it. So like essentially like the drider would like I guess climb out and sleep on this like web over this giant hole in the earth.
Is there anything inside the room besides the hole?
Make a perception check.
I'm good at those. An 18.
It does look like there's something like in the center of the web, and it appears like you know how like a spider, like when it catches its prey, it like spins it all up,
Yeah.
and it pretty much like makes like a webbing cocoon around it. It does appear that there is an object in the center of the web that has a webbing cocoon around it. It doesn't look like it would be like, if it was something living, it doesn't look like it would be anything big, like smaller than like any humanoid creature. Like there's no way it's a humanoid creature. As for exactly what it is, you don't know. You just see this like something in the center of the web with like a webbing cocoon around it.
How big does it look? Is it
Pretty small. Pretty small.
Do either one of y'all know how to climb?
To each other, to you, like, I suppose we could try. You want to try? One looks at the other, like, not really. Do you want to try? No. Rock, paper, scissors it? I suppose. And then,
Hold on there. How far down does it go? To where the webbing
the
is?
hole.
Yeah, where the webbing is in the hole.
You have no idea how far down the hole descends.
But yeah, where's the webbing at for the where the object?
Oh, like
is?
how far out the item is?
Yeah.
Hang on. I can answer that question. Shut up, dogs.
No.
Okay. I don't actually have that room mapped out. I got another one, and I can get a good estimate by looking at that one. Okay, so it's not really all that far out. Probably about, so this like room, it's probably about like 30 feet straight ahead, and maybe about like 45-ish, 50 feet across, and the item's like halfway out, so it's probably like 15 feet. So it's not like too far. It's actually not far at all.
Is the hole, is it like craggy? Does it have like a lot of handholds?
You don't really see, like, nothing really sticks out. Like, if you went out there and something happened, like, you'd be gone.
Do either one of y'all have any rope with you?
Double John is like, oh, you are a genius. This is why the team sent you with us. Yes. Yeah. His bag on his back, he pulls it out. And he begins shuffling through it, and he pulls out a rope. How long are the ropes? Are they like normally like 60 feet, 30 feet?
I think standard rope is 50 feet.
Okay, so yeah, he's got 50 feet rope. Let's see, high 10. Like a 50-foot like hemp rope. And then he looks at you, he's like, how do you want to do this? Tie it around me and then you two hold it?
Yeah, yes, that should be good.
Okay. He proceeds to like, tie it around himself. Gives you guys on the other end. And he's like, wish me luck.
And as we're like
He
lowering him
begins
down, I put my hand on the other gnome's shoulder, and I'll cast guidance on him, so he gets to add a D4 to the check.
Which one, or did you put that on
The one helping me lure him down.
Okay. So also to clarify, it's not like, make sure you get this picture right. The item, it's not like down; it's kind of out in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure. So yeah, he begins like working his way out on the web. Everything seems to be going good. Control. He's beginning to get a little bit cocky. And like he's kind of like crawling on all fours. And now he's like beginning to like stand up. He's like, hey, look at me. And then he's going to make the rest of the way to the item. And as he gets cocky, he's like, hey, look at me. And like he takes his like first step as he's standing up on his feet. The webbing it rips. And let's see, dex save. One of his like feet, one of his like legs drops down, and his whole like lower body's dangling down. But like he kind of reaches out, grabbing a hold of the webbing on both sides of him. But he like catches himself, and the webbing's holding a little bit more. He begins to pull himself back up. Uh, he begins to pull himself back up, and he completely botches it, and he falls. So let's see. How do we want to do this? I'm thinking a strength check on your guys' end.
Okay.
Hey, let me think about it for a second, though. What are your thoughts on this? I'm thinking a strength check with advantage, because it would be as if he was assisting you with the skill. You did cast Bless on him, so
Well, we can just say I cast it on myself, and I can roll with the extra D4
okay.
with advantage.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll the extra D4 with advantage.
Let's hope this -1 to strength doesn't. Okay, that's not terrible. So total 14. That's a strength save, but it's the same for me either way.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't go too well, man. You're trying to like hold him up. You're trying to pull him back up, but this little gnome, he's a little fat, plump gnome.
Oh, wait a
And
second.
you
Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold
Okay.
on, I think I have something. I just need to read it real quick. Okay, I will use one charge of my divine sight so I can roll again.
Okay.
Oh god. D20. Come on, roll above a 14. Yes!
Okay. So yeah, you like see like you see like him falling, and as you see him falling, like you see yourself like pulling, and you it's like you get this like I don't know how to explain it, like this divine vision of him falling. Like when he falls, you get this divine vision of you and this other gnome trying to fight to pull him back up. And like in this vision, like you see like you and this other gnome, you guys kind of like bump into each other, and you kind of stumble over a rock. And you see like the other gnome kind of like fall over the cliff, and like you like fight to like sustain your ground and for you not to fall over the cliff. And then you come back to reality, and he's just beginning to fall, and you're able to kind of guide this other gnome and like kind of do this with a bit of caution, and you're able to pull the gnome back up. Um, when he gets back up to the ground, he's like grasping at the ground below him, kissing the ground. He's like, "Thank you, thank the five, thank the five, thank the five." And then he stands back up and he looks at you guys like, "I'm so sorry, I was so close. I got cocky. I'm going again. I'm going again." And he immediately turns. He's like,
Hold on
and
one
as he
second.
begins to step out, he's like, "Wait, should I do this? I don't know. I'm scared."
Oh, when I looked at this object, does it look like it could be the size of the dragon egg that I have?
It looks smaller than the egg you have.
Uh, Screw it. So when with his climbing, is this more dexterous or more strength based?
His climbing out on the web, it appears to be more dexish.
Okay, I will put my hand on him and imbue him with the the grace of a cat.
Okay,
And I'm gonna
so how
cast
exactly does that work?
I'm casting
I'm
enhanced ability
assuming.
on him, so he gets advantage on all dex checks. And if he
Okay.
falls 20 feet, I think it is 20 feet or less, he doesn't take damage.
Okay, well, if he falls, let's just hope this pit is less than 20 feet. Wink, wink.
Well,
Okay, he begins to head out over the web again. Everything seems to be going good. He gets out a little bit further. He kind of gets a little shaky, but he grabs his ground, and then he makes it to the item. You see him, he takes his hands and he puts his hands on the item. He jerks the item. And when he jerks the item, the web it rips a little bit, and he braces himself. You see fear come over his eyes, but he stands good, and he begins making his return trip back. You see him; he's kind of getting a little cocky again. He's like, "Yeah, I got this." He's still going good, and as he's going good, he just leaps the rest of the way back from the web to the ground. And as he leaps, like the web below him, it rips a little bit, and he's back. He's back now with this item wrapped in spider webbing. And he's like, "What do you think it is?" And his like hands are sticking to it, and he like fights to get his hands off of it.
I'll reach for it and try to pull it off.
Okay. It's a bit sticky. You have to fight to get it off his hands, but you get it off his hands, and you have the item in your hands.
Do I have a knife or something? Um, Sarvin, he will like produce fire from his hands, but it's going to be like a slow burning. Mm,
Okay.
he's going to try not to burn the object that's inside.
Okay.
But
Yeah. You burn through the item a bit, and you burn away the webbings, and there's this little statue of this creature. And the two gnomes are like, yeah, get that away from us. And they back up away from you quickly. And they're like, it's her. It's a statue of her. Referring to Malice Hapamora. You look down at this like little statue that fits in your hands. It's kind of similar to the Drider. It has a spider body coming off its torso, though. You see that its torso, this Malice Hathamora that the Drow worship, she has 4 arms. You notice, though, her face, it does look like the face of Amora. And in her depiction, it does appear that the depiction does have blue hair with silver streaks in it. Though there is something that strikes you about this statue. Half of the statue appears to be strong, and it's of a darker skin tone, while the other half appears to be weak, feeble, injured, hurt, with a lighter skin tone. And like this like 2 skin tone type thing, it like even like descends down onto like the spider torso, or not spider torso, but like spider lower body. And your eye kind of wrapped around the cloth that you have it in. You feel your eye begin to burn.
like a irritation kind of burned, or like my eyes
I
on
don't know.
fire.
How do you imagine it? Like you can tell like it's whatever this is that you're feeling, it's similar to what you felt when the eye attempted to identify the items of Teshik and Elgin.
Oh, okay. I would like to think of it as more like getting a really like bad migraine, like in the back of
Okay, yeah.
that eye.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds cool. So do you undo the bandages?
I don't think he'll undo it, but he'll just like shift it to where it's almost like a bandana on his head. Or
Okay,
just like
I
kind of
got you.
shift it up.
Yeah, kind of like reveal the eye.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you kind of reveal it, and it takes a little bit for it to like really like hone in on it. Like if you were in a room and there was like a dozen magical items, it wouldn't be like, oh, this is this and this is this and this is this
You have to
instantly.
get like
Like it
really
takes like
personal with it.
yeah, yeah. You have to like invest time into it. And your eye begins to like focus in on this, and you begin to understand what this is. So it's a totem of Malice Hathamora, and like you feel like it has to be a you feel like as you look at this item and as the eye examines this item, you feel like there's like mediators between man and the gods, and you feel like this item, it would like grant you like to be in the presence of a mediator between you and this god. I don't really know how to say it.
I get what you're saying.
So there's different gods. They have different mediators between them and man. And you begin to understand this as you look at this item. Like you're a cleric, like maybe you haven't heard much about there being mediators between man and God. Maybe to a lot of clerics, this is a foreign concept. But when you look at this item, like you begin to understand, like there's mediators between man and God. And like in your mind, you begin to see this like horrid image of this like wax type demonic creature, and you see it standing between Nan and this god. And as you look at this item, you feel the power to bring this demonic wax type creature into your presence. As far as how that encounter would go, you have no idea.
Do I feel like it's blocking me from talking?
You don't really feel like it's blocking, but not every time a cleric prays or a man prays or anybody prays, the prayers are necessarily going to be heard. It's not that they're blocked. It's that maybe the gods don't listen to every prayer. Maybe the gods aren't all seeing. Maybe they're not all knowing. And for some reason, they just don't directly answer every prayer. They don't directly handle everything. You've, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And like, it's not that this demonic wax type creature is blocking. Maybe it's the hand of the god,
So,
a handmaid per se.
okay. Maybe y'all should head to the temple. I need to. I need to do something, and y'all might not want to be here for it.
Okay. They look to each other and they're like, okay. And they turn, they slowly, or they don't even turn, they just slowly begin to walk off. And you find yourself in the chamber of this Strider, you and this totem. I imagine you're contemplating summoning it.
Yeah.
Okay, as you contemplate it and before you act, you feel yourself kind of drifting away. You've experienced visions before, and this is you know you're about to have a vision, and you go into this vision. As you go into this vision, it's not Malice Hathamora you see, it's not Amora you see the greater of the two suns in the sky. You see it burning in the sky. You see the heat of the sun just shining down on you that you've ignored at times. But you just feel it absolutely overwhelming you. You feel it overwhelming you in a way you've never felt it overwhelm you. You feel the warmth of Ragan in a way you've never felt it before. Almost a peace that could come close to rivaling Aura, but not as strong as the peace you felt from her. Because really, Ragan's not one of peace. He's more of a war type god. But you do feel some type of embrace. And if you were to take anything from this, you feel it as if Ragan himself is warning you, don't do what you're about to do. How do you respond to
Uh,
this vision from Ragan?
he kind of stops for a minute. He's thinking about what the wall said about them, that the gods are warring over him for whatever reason, and he kind of just like nods his head or shakes his head, and he ignores the vision and he activates the thing, the totem.
Are you familiar with what a yoke hole is?
I'm assuming it's a type of like demon or something, but not particularly. It's not ringing a bell. I'm assuming I'm about to get very familiar with what it is.
Okay, so over the remains of this spider web spanning this chasm, you see the spider web. It's as if it's beginning to turn into this wax type substance. If you want, get on like Google Images and type in Yochol, Yochlol, just so you can kind of get a picture of it. You see the spider web. It's as if it just begins to turn into like wax, and it's like pretty much just like a pillar of wax begins to rise from it, and you see a mouth begin to form within the wax, and these wax tentacles begin to sprout out of this pillar of wax, and you see an eye begin to form within it, and almost a mouth begin to form at like one of the places like where one of the tentacles is like sprouting off, and as like one mouth forms, a few more mouths begin to form as well, and the eye opens and it looks at you, um, and you feel an evil stronger than any evil you have ever felt in your life, and this creature is staring at you, and it speaks in a tongue that you do not understand, and as it speaks you just feel fear begin to come over you. You feel hate and rage and all of these negative emotions. They just begin to stir in you, and you're not even sure why they're stirring. You feel evil just begin to come over you in a way it's never come over, in a way you've just never felt evil before. How do you respond as this creature begins to speak to you in this tongue you don't understand? Its voice is echoing and booming.
I think at first, Zarbin like backs up in his typical way that he usually deals with like aggression and stuff, and like fear, and he kind of like wants to get smaller, but then he like shakes his head and he's determined. Like he feels like this is the point that he's been waiting for his entire life. Like is what he is meant to do.
Okay, so how do you respond? What do you say? What do you do?
I think for a little bit he'll just like look at it, and then eventually
Okay.
he'll say,
You okay?
"Do you speak the common tongue?"
Bow before me, peasant. Do you bow?
No, he doesn't.
Okay. Okay, so in its like demonic voice, it cries out, "Bow before me, peasant." Zarbin refuses to bow, and you see one of these like wax type tentacles just whips out to smack you.
I blind him with my light, so he has disadvantage.
Okay, you its tentacle whips, wax tentacle whips out at you, um, and as it does, you send off this light, and it flashes, and the tentacle, it misses, and its voice echoes again. "I said, bow, peasant. Bow before me. Bow before the mother. Know your place. Bow now."
You're in my way.
You see its tentacles. They kind of begin to calm down. Their wave begins to slow down. The all of the wax, it kind of begins to, it is kind of like loosely waving about. It gets more stiff, and its eye locks in on you. One more time. Bow. I approach cautiously. You approach foolishly. To approach a handmaiden of malice, Athamora, so foolishly.
It would appear that I'm
My
a...
delay will become swift if you do not bow. I will slaughter you. I will kill you. I will offer your blood to the mother.
I believe we are on equal footing. I am...
Equal footing? No, no, there is nothing equal about this. I am the handmaiden of Malice Almora. You will bow now or you will die. This is your last chance. Bow now.
Zarbin doesn't bow.
It's initiative.
Oh god, where's roll 20? There's... Here's come that -1. I got a 1. Oh wait, I have inspiration. I'm using the inspiration. I'm using it.
Okay.
18.
Nice. You go first. Give me 1 second, though. Let me read over a few things. I was not anticipating this at all.
It's okay. I understand.
What the crap?
What the crap is right. It's okay if Zarbin does. Right now, this is...
What'd you say?
So it'll be okay if Zarbin dies today. It'll be a good death. And possibly ironic death.
Wow. Okay. You go first. What's your HP and AC?
AC is 15. HP is 38. How close is he to me?
Let's just go ahead and map this out.
Okay.
Let's resize this real quick. Let's go. Well, no, that's not right.
Oh.
Do you see a blank screen on roll 20?
I do. I'll drop the Zarbin token out. I can get used to all these tabs I got. Oh, this is a big area.
Oh crap! That's completely wrong. We're going to go to a different page. Oh, I messed it up. I was thinking the measurements were different. I don't know why. Okay. So okay, if I was to search for an accurate token for this creature, I'd probably be looking a while, so I'm just going to grab whatever.
I'm fine with that. My immersion.
Let's see, what was its reach? It's made one attack at you, so... Okay, so yeah, it's probably like right there on the ledge, and um, like it's like wax kind of like reaches out and like covers like a good portion of like the first half of the webbing, like that kind of like reaching out. The wax kind of reaches out and pours out and like lodges itself like on the side, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hmm.
Crap, one more point. Whoa, what is going on?
Is roll 20 disobeying?
Yeah.
It's okay. It
Okay,
happens
that's
to
good
everyone.
enough. Okay, so yeah, you are.
Okay, so I will cast a new spell, Spirit Guardians.
Okay.
So let's see, 15, just 15-foot radius. So like
And
this.
how does this work?
So I like create a like a sphere of energy around me, and there's like spirits that will attack um, enemies of me while they're in the sphere, essentially. But I'm thinking that instead of it being like multiple spirits, it's like one uh like female form that is kind of like surrounding me, like kind of like twirling around me, and it's a depiction of a nude like female form, but it's not really any definition to it. It's just kind of like the shape of a female, and it has this like long flowing blue and silver hair.
I was just reading over it for a second. Give me one moment.
Yeah, and it says like when the creature first enters the spell, it doesn't count like when I first cast a spell. It's only at the start of
Yeah.
their turn.
At the beginning of the turn, and he'll make a wisdom, or the Yokal will make a wisdom save.
Yeah, because Wizards of the Coast just like on one of their sage advice things actually said that spells that say when they first enter the area, it does not count when you first cast the spell
Okay,
because it
cool.
was dealing more damage than the spells were intended to. And I think that's it for me. I don't have a bonus action that I can do, so. But I'll say we are on equal ground because I am the handmaiden of Amora.
Laura is dead fool. And with two of its wax-like tentacles, they lunge out at you.
Oh, it needs to make the wisdom save.
Oh yeah.
No, go no the.
Or isn't this the same turn when it be at the beginning of next turn?
No, when it starts its turn inside the circle.
Oh, okay, yeah, I understand.
And it does that every on it all its turns.
And what was the DC for the save?
15 for me. I'll check real quick, but I think it's 15. It is. It is 15.
Okay. Okay. Um. So Yoko does take some damage from the spirit woman. Didn't appear to phase it too much. It lashes out with two of its wax.
I will give
Do
it
what?
disadvantage on its first attack.
Okay.
Or that. Yeah, its first attack.
The first attack, it flailingly misses. And you manage to dodge out of the way of the second one as well. Both of its attacks miss. And you are up.
Oh God, what do I do? Let's see. Can't cast any concentration spells because that. I guess I will cast Scorching Ray at it.
Okay. And does he get a save against that?
No, Scorching Ray is just attack rolls.
Okay, cool.
Let's see if this works. Okay, a 10 on the first one. That's
And
not
what
right.
kind of damage is that? Oh, that misses.
It should be 11. For some reason, it's not adding my stuff up together.
Okay.
I'll roll it normally. D20 plus 7. Yeah. So a 26, and then the second one is a 23.
You got 2 attacks?
Scorching Ray, you do 3 attacks.
Oh.
For some reason it wasn't putting the spell card up. I'm not sure why. This character sheet is so janky sometimes.
So 26 and 23.
So it's 46 fire damage.
26.
So 16.
Double check one more thing. Okay, so 23. Okay, so 16 was your damage.
Yeah, it was fire damage.
Okay.
And as I shoot out these 3 fiery blasts, I'll say, how can she be dead if she powers me right now?
So your fire, it like hits into the wax. Almost though, like before it hits, it's almost as if it disintegrates, but it does leave a little like scorch mark on it. You pose this question of how can she be dead if she guides you. The Yoko responds, "The divine still linger, but she is a slave to the true master. She is a slave. The malice has more of the one who does the will of the one who is greater." And it launches out with two more whips. You really don't even understand what it's talking about. Just mad rambling, it sounds like. One of its two whips strikes you. Um, let's see real quick.
Oh, I'm still giving disadvantage on the first attack, if that matters.
Okay. Okay. The one of the two attacks still hit. Okay, hang on me. Let me just make sure I'm reading this right. Okay.
Oh, and also, after you're done with that, it needs to do the wisdom saving throw again, I think.
Okay, so when this like wax whip strikes you, you feel like one of your ribs like crack, and you just feel this like burning sensation just begin to like flood over practically like your entire body instantly, and you take 26 points of damage.
Jesus.
It fails its wisdom save.
Okay, so
How much damage does it take from that?
let's see, 3d8. So, 17 radiant damage.
17 radiant damage. That appeared to take the biggest hit out of it yet so far.
Okay.
It still appears to be standing pretty strong. And we are back to you.
Okay, I'm just reading the eye stuff. Okay, so fire doesn't seem have affected as much as it should.
Yeah, it didn't appear like when your flame struck it, it was as if before it even hit, the fire disintegrated, but the heat of the flame, it still appeared to scorch the wax a little bit.
Oh, how much was the damage? It was 26.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
believe you're at 12 HP,
Yeah,
correct?
and I need to make a Constitution saving throw to see if my spirit guardians gets
Okay.
uh, fizzled. And I think it's 10 or half, so I should have to roll a 13 or higher. Oh no! It goes away.
Fizzles away.
Well, that like really hurt. Let's. I am going to Scott Collins. Okay. Call drop. At least this will give me some time to think. Hey, ooh, this is rough. I am going to cast Spirit Guardians again. So, yeah, let's see. Put the orb back there. And that is it for my turn. Actually, no. I will cast Healing Word as a bonus action. I can do that. Oh, actually, 8 HP. That's actually not too bad. So I'm up to 20 now. Yep. It's DC 15. So he takes 17 radiant damage. Whoop. Skype is not being a happy panda right now. In fact, it's being a sad panda. Hey, yeah. Disadvantage on the first attack. Nice. So Zarvin, he's getting upset, and he like starts conjuring this like orb of blue light, and then he shoots it out, and it turns it on to almost like a javelin, and it he's gonna use guiding bolt on the as a second level spell. How do I do that? Can I choose to spin it? I don't want to click the button. Cast as a second level. 19. Yeah, it's 16 radiant damage. And I will use a bonus action to cast Healing Word. Okay. Just gotta keeping track of all the spell slots. I'm not used to it. 5 HP. You can still one shot me. 25. And I have advantage on the next attack against him because after the bolt of radiant energy hits him, it like leaves like a sparkling residue that makes it easier to hit him. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to spend um, one of my charges so it has disadvantage on the attack. We'll just start with the first one. We'll go after. We'll see what happens. Okay, we'll do it on the second one too. Okay. Twenty damage. Okay, so I need to make a con save to see if Spirit Guardians fails, and I need to roll a 10. Okay. And I failed the con save, so this will be the last time he takes damage from it. 3d8. 17 damage again. The Spirit Guardians did work. So I think it's kind of cool, like the a more visage that he conjures, like reaches out and like grabs onto the tree and like burns away at it, and as it does it, he like gets hit and his eyes kind of blink, and as it blinks, he sees the uh, avatar of her like disappear into like almost like showers of sparks. Well, I I think he's going to shoot out one more lance of blue energy, and it's going to have advantage because of the previous attack before. Come on, we need a crit, baby. We need a crit. Oh, it wasn't a crit, and it's double eights. I will use the last point of the eye. Maybe something will happen here. Oh, that's plus 7, so that's 12. Uh-oh. Okay. I will use the advantage thing that I got. Advantage. Come on. I believe. 18. Hmm. I don't. I will cast Sanctuary on myself. So, like this, like aura of like blue like surrounds me, and it creatures need to make wisdom saves to see if they can attack me or not. And I'm just gonna move out of the mist. I'm gonna like back up into the center area of this layer. Yep. Yep. Oh, he only has to make one save. It makes one save, and you can take. Um, hold on. Let me read the eye thing. I'm still getting used to the craziness of the eye. I'm trying to decide how much I want to gamble. Hmm. Nope, nope. No, he. I don't do anything to stop it. Well. How long does it have to do it each time? Oh, hold on. I'm going to grab the necklace I've had around my neck. I'm going to rip out one of the gems. I'm going to throw it at it. I hope that does something. Fire breath was 46, I think. 10. Just punched my ear. Yep. Oh god. What's its maximum though? If it can roll 43 damage, it can kill me. I'm not sure if that's possible, but 43. Well, that's a lot, but I'm not insta-dead. What about fire elemental? Fair enough. Damn. I like it. Yep. And what's even funnier is that all the match got them because they gave me all of them. Oh. Mm. Good stuff. Oh yeah, I'm free. Do we want to call that the end of the session? Well, I guess this because we are at this point now. What happens uh, when Zarbin dies? Does he go to rest in peace with Amora, or what happens there? Mm. I just thought it was, something. This, um, while the as Zarbin's tale ends with the group, his actual tale just begins because now he's can